Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. The buzz around Washington this week is electrifying, and it's not just because the city is starting to sense the crisp change of football season in the air. The Commanders, a franchise trying to build a new identity and send a message to the NFC East, have made one of the most intriguing moves of the offseason. Za'Darius Smith, the defensive end known across the league as a relentless hunter of quarterbacks, has officially landed in D.C. The deal itself seems less like a standard transaction and more like a statement of intent. The Commanders want dominance. They want to reshape how the rest of the division looks at them, and Smith's arrival is being framed as a defining piece of that mission. Around the league, whispers are growing. The Commanders just might be serious contenders if this defense clicks, and Za'Darius could be the one who tilts the balance. Fans are already flooding social media with excitement. Memes of him chasing NFC East quarterbacks popping up in endless loops, while analysts are carefully recalculating what this defensive front can look like. This is not just a signing. This is a declaration that Washington is tired of being overlooked. When Za'Darius Smith himself spoke upon arrival, he didn't bother with cliches or the kind of measured optimism players often throw at cameras. Instead, he doubled down on the reputation that earned him the nickname, the QB Hunter. His message was clear and carried that mix of confidence and menace that can only come from someone who's consistently proved it on the field. He promised that the quarterbacks of the NFC East would feel his presence, and that his game was built not on hype, but on production, pressure, and the chaos he creates in the backfield. Reporters hung on his words because it felt different, more authentic, and more aggressive than the standard introductory conference. The tone wasn't just about fitting in, it was about taking over. Teammates listening and nodded along, visibly energized, and that chemistry could be the fuel Washington needs. It's not often that a player walks into a building and immediately shifts the atmosphere, but that's the kind of gravity Smith brings. He knows his role, and he knows the impact he can have in a division that already thrives on heated rivalries. The NFC East is never short of storylines, but with this move, Washington has injected a new layer of drama. Think about the quarterbacks he's lining up against now: Dak Prescott, Daniel Jones, and Jalen Hurts. Each presents a different challenge, each with a different style, but all now face a man who relishes the pursuit. For Dak, who's been under constant scrutiny in Dallas for turnovers and inconsistency, facing Smith twice a year could add more nightmares to his plate. For Jones, who has only recently started convincing New York fans that he's the guy, the thought of Smith crashing through the pocket is a brutal test. And for Hurts, who is the rising superstar in Philadelphia and the pride of their future, Smith's physicality could be the very thing designed to disrupt rhythm and confidence. Rivalries in this division are fueled by personality as much as performance, and you can bet Smith knows exactly how to position himself as the villain. Commanders fans don't just want wins, they want swagger. And this edition gives them exactly that: a player who feeds off confrontation and thrives on the stage where pressure is highest. Beyond the immediate headlines and flashy press conference soundbites, there's the football reality. Smith is joining an already formidable defensive line. Washington boasts names like Jonathan Allen and Darren Payne, players who anchor the trenches with power and technique. Now imagine adding Smith's explosiveness off the edge, creating a front that can collapse pockets in multiple ways. It's a nightmare scenario for offensive coordinators, because no longer can they simply double one star and hope to neutralize Washington's rush. The synergy here is what could take this defense to another tier. Analysts are already comparing it to some of the best units in the league, not in terms of pure statistics yet, but in terms of potential disruption. Defensive football is about dictating terms, and the Commanders might finally have the pieces to do that consistently. Smith doesn't just add talent, he adds unpredictability. He can line up in different spots, disguise looks, and force offenses into mistakes before the snap even happens. And in a league where turnovers change everything, that versatility might be Washington's new edge. Washington has often lived in the shadows of its division rivals. Philadelphia has the recent Super Bowl appearance, Dallas always has the spotlight, and New York carries the history and the market. The Commanders, for too long, have been left as an afterthought. But with the arrival of Za'Darius Smith, there's a sense that the narrative could finally shift. Media outlets are already forced to discuss Washington with more weight, and fans are starting to believe again. This isn't just about defense, it's about identity. For years, Washington has cycled through coaches, quarterbacks, and front office changes, trying desperately to find a formula that sticks. Now, with the stability of new leadership and the addition of a proven star, they're crafting a culture rooted in aggression and resilience. That's what Smith embodies, the refusal to be overlooked. His career has been built on silencing doubts, whether it was early questions about his consistency or skepticism about his durability. Each time, he's responded with production. Now, his mission aligns with a franchise hungry to demand respect. The energy around the facility is palpable. Coaches talk about how Smith's presence is elevating practices, not just because of his skill, but because of his voice. He's vocal, he's direct, and he's not afraid to challenge teammates to raise their standards. That kind of leadership is invaluable, especially for a roster that has young pieces trying to grow into their roles. For defensive backs, knowing a player like Smith is up front gives them confidence to take risks. For linebackers, it creates more freedom to fly around and make plays. And for the offense, going up against him every day in practice sharpens their edge. Football is a game of margins, and these small shifts in culture and expectation can transform a team's ceiling. Smith isn't just a mercenary signing here to cash checks. He's invested in building something. That's the sense you get from how he interacts with staff, how he addresses fans, and how he carries himself. Washington might have found not just a pass rusher, but a catalyst for an entire locker room revolution. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. What's fascinating is how this move has reignited the fan base. The Commanders have long had one of the most passionate followings in football, but years of underachievement dulled the fire. Now, season ticket sales are seeing a spike, and team merchandise with Smith's number is already among the best sellers. Social media clips of him arriving in D.C., shaking hands with fans, and engaging with the community are spreading quickly. That matters more than people realize. In a city like Washington, where football intersects with politics, culture, and legacy, the relationship between team and supporters is powerful. Smith's charisma bridges that gap. He's the type of player people rally behind because he's authentic. He doesn't sugarcoat, he doesn't play to the cameras, he just delivers. For fans who have endured false dawns and broken promises, that straightforward confidence is refreshing. It feels real, and it feels sustainable. When fans buy into a player like that, it creates momentum that bleeds into every Sunday, turning home games into events where belief outweighs doubt. Of course, with every big signing comes pressure. Smith knows he's being brought in to change games, not just contribute. The spotlight will be bright, and opponents will be eager to test him. Injuries and age are always lurking questions when it comes to veteran players, and skeptics are already wondering how he'll hold up across a long season. But if you've followed Smith's career, you know doubt fuels him. He has consistently turned challenges into motivation. This move to Washington is more than a fresh chapter. It's a chance to redefine his legacy. Imagine the headlines if he's the key to a Commander's resurgence, if his sacks and pressures lead them to meaningful December games and perhaps even playoff contention. That's the type of impact that cements a player's name in franchise lore. For Smith, this isn't just about hunting quarterbacks anymore. It's about hunting respect, both for himself and for the organization he's now representing. The stakes are high, but so is his hunger. Across the league, rival executives are taking notice. The Commanders were once viewed as an easy matchup, a team that could be bullied in the trenches or outpaced on offense. With Smith in the fold, that perception is changing. Suddenly, Washington has a defense that no one wants to see on the schedule. Division rivals are already adjusting their protection schemes, knowing that keeping Smith in check requires extra planning. And when teams adjust for him, it opens lanes for the rest of the line. That's the beauty of this move. It doesn't just add one star, it amplifies the entire defense. Some insiders even suggest that Washington might not be done, that this signing is part of a larger strategy to create a defense-first identity that dominates for years. Whether or not more moves come, Smith's presence alone has elevated Washington's credibility. The NFC East, always a battleground, just got another twist in its storyline. and it's one that no rival fan base is happy to see. At the end of the day, the signing of Za'Darius Smith feels bigger than football. It feels like a cultural reset for a franchise desperate to escape mediocrity. The Commanders have often been stuck in cycles of promise followed by disappointment, but now there's a sense of direction. A player like Smith doesn't just chase quarterbacks. He chases belief, momentum, and the type of moments that make fans believe anything is possible. His arrival in DC is being talked about not as a short-term boost, but as a symbol of what this team can become. It's still early, and the real test will come when the season starts. But right now the city is buzzing, the locker room is alive, and the division is on notice. The Commanders have declared their intent with one bold move. They are here to hunt. And with Za'Darius Smith leading the charge, quarterbacks across the NFC East better start watching their backs, because the hunter has arrived in Washington, and he's not coming quietly. Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.